Hey guys, before we get started with building out the player card, I want to show you what it looks like when it's actually open. So as you scroll down, here's what you see. You see, and obviously the interfacing shows you a intro. What we do love about the features we've added is you can see offers, you can see interest, you can see early enrollees, you get your measurables aspect, and then you get this feature where it shows you academic standings. So for schools that have high academics standards and they're looking to, stack money with academics and athletics, we have that on the very interfacing the very first part of the template and the offer card so that coaches can see that, because again, we're trying to appeal to the college coach, and we're also trying to hit all the things that a parent wants to have on our offer card. So see that, and as you scroll down, you start to see videos, so we get right to the guts of what needs to be done and what a college coach wants to see and what he has to see immediately, because if he don't see something within the first 15 to 20 seconds on these offer cards, he's out. Then he gets the offers, so he's watched film. We like this to lay out in a proper manner. So you see the video, okay, I like what I see, I like the academics, I like all those things. Then okay, he does have a Division I offer. Here's his measurables, here's his strength and speed, and then it just gives you more data and more entry points to provide credibility for your athlete. So as you see all these features, and the coolest thing is that coach can then hit I'm interested in this player, and the player and the parent will get this email immediately and get this notification, so they can then respond back to an appropriate manner so they can begin the dialogue. So wanted you guys to see what the card looked like before we started building it out. So as we get into this today, as we start talking about it, we're going to look at building an offer card. We call it offer cards because we think this is extremely important. So right now you see we're on the dashboard. This is where we're at. You see our athlete we've got here. He's had 67 views, 37 this week. His profile strength is at 100. There's links, there's his edits, so forth and so on. So we're just going to click through some of this and work through building out a player card. All right, so here you're going to see a point, and we've also built in features to tell you if your card readiness is where it's supposed to be. There's a desktop aspect, there's a tablet aspect that looks similar to this. This is what it's going to look like on tablet. This is what it's going to look like on mobile. So how it's condensed, it's concise, it's very user-friendly. Aesthetically, it's very pleasing. And then it gets all the information out there. So let's go back to our desktop view and start looking at that. First of all, obviously, there's the headshot. So you want to get a headshot, you can change that. And then notice how all of these go green once these things are done. So as you look at card theme, we've got a base template of colors. You can add outlines. You can add different reflective outlines that give you a different look that you may like. And, you can just make this very personalized. And we wanted these offer cards to be very personal. So as we finish that up, that'll turn green. Then there's the personal information. That is extremely important. Name, height, weight, size, NCAA ID, early enrollee. Then you want a good power statement that really sells who it is and concises and gives us some understanding, gives the coach some optics of who they're dealing with. So as you finish this, the great thing about it, it's going to show you colors. It's going to show you all the features. About and bio, a little bit more detailed, when they graduate, any rankings, any things that we've gotten, and how that looks and how that builds on. So you start to see these things all coming together, and you start to see them building out. So it's really important that you understand that as you're building out this card. Okay? Continue, move on. We have player coverage. Okay? So these are any links that they've been featured in, any articles. So we can add those links there. We can add any of that stuff there, which gives us a lot of exposure, quotes from coaches, credibility from trainers, because again, we know how important that secondary training is. All right. Then we get into academics, okay? And you'll see how it's yellow here. So we don't have some of these features on this current athlete that we're exposing here, that we're introducing here. We have his GPA, we do not have a SCT, and we do not have an ACT. That is why this is showing yellow and is saying a plus 6% increase in card readiness if we can finish out these things and finish out this part of it. We have the feature so that you can add schedules and add those things, and you can upload them in the form of an image. If you're on your phone, you can upload those as a PDF. You can upload those as a Word document. Whatever format your coach has provided you that, so that it's ease of access for the recruiter. Okay, so as we get in strength and speed, notice here all these different formats. What I love about the feature as a parent and as a coach is as I'm editing, it pulls up the feature right here so you see it as we start to input data in. Notice again, we can get a plus 9% increase if Jake will go in here and finish out these things and get measurables on this. So and then you can add notes that tells you they're verified. You can add links of videos showing these things, so these coaches can actually see the 4.5, or you can see those measurables. So it's not just word of mouth, but it's actually video credibility to it, and you can see it as you go along. All right, college offers, extremely important, right? So Jake's got an offer from East Texas A&M University. He can add those offers. He can add that in there. All right, colleges, schools that show interest. We thought this was really important because as a former college coach, it was always great to me to understand what range or level the athlete was kind of projecting. So this gives us interest, and what we tell our athletes is they have to have either been on campus, talked to the position coach, or have had continued dialogue to be able to show interest. So we add these here. This again gives us some optics of kind of what level this player's tracking on. So as we send out these player cards to other college coaches, because we're trying to see it on three perspectives: parent access, high school coach's ability to export, and then the college coach's ability to receive the information. As he receives the information, what are quick things that he can assess the athlete without obsessing over it, because he's getting so much information on such a time sequence. So this allows you to, that college coach can go in and go, okay, TCU, Tarleton, so FCS, some geographically driven Power Fives, and so this is where he's tracking. So it makes it very appealable and very recognizable and relatable to the college coach. I think that's extremely important. So as we continue to move on, then we have the social and film links aspect. Now, what we're able to do here is you can add Vimeo links, you can add his X, you can add Instagram, you can add a YouTube, you can add any personal websites, huddle links, cinematic highlights, all of these things so they can see this player in different optics. And then what we love is the ability to add Vimeo links so that they can see the training. Because let's admit, everybody doesn't have the game film they need. But sometimes colleges are just looking for movement. So if you got injured or whatever, you're still allowed to add recruitable, accessible, video-based, formatted training and throwing sessions and those type things. That gives you credibility of who you're training with. Notice here Jake is training with a very credible running back coach in a very credible area. So we can add that on top of his huddle, on top of a cinematic, and it just gives it more credibility and more exposure. So having these features is extremely important. So then we continue to go down here. Of course, we finish up contact info, coaches info, all those things. We roll down. Again, we finish up with as many photos. What we always tell our guys is add photos that give you credibility of being a multi-sport athlete, any offer graphics, any measurable entities. We see right now Jake is a track runner. Obviously, he's got credible photos. He's got strength photos. He's got offer graphics, and he's got a visual so that you can see true measurables. So this allows you to see all these things, all right? So then we go down to videos. So again, already shown you these, but this is where you upload your Vimeos, you upload all of these things so that you see them. So coaches endorsements, all right? So this is a coach endorsement. One's from Jake's head coach, which is me, and then one's from his, from his running back trainer. So you see that, and then again, the big piece of this is all of these things go green when these things are added. One of our best features in our research and talking to coaches and finding out was coaches being able to get access to transcripts. So much is academically driven, and what we have to understand is being able to add these transcripts in at the bottom here, and these guys can export and just pull up the transcript. Extremely important, because these colleges are now looking for high academic guys that they can kind of balance the money in recruiting. When you get into rev share and all that stuff, a lot of that's being spent on transfers. So how do they utilize and still sign good freshman classes for high school athletes? Well, they utilize that by being able to match money with academics. So high academics is extremely important. So as we get to this and we see kind of as we finish up editing our card and we do all these type things, Now we can look at the shared preview, and it'll refresh here, and we can see this is what, when you share it out, this is what the card looks like. This is amazing. This is aesthetically, this is kind of the way it codes out and the way it sends out. It's great. And then you can also change these features in the fact of adding, his jersey number, his offer count, any of these things. Then you just copy it. You can text this right out, and it goes directly to in text message format, email format, whatever. And you can you can send this out as much as you want to, and get the information. Because again, here's what we believe: time and circumstance. Everything's about time and circumstance, the right player in the right situation. So what we've got to do is give you tools and resources that gets your player into that place so that he can be seen. So this is what we did with our building out our player card. This is our feature to build out your offer card, to get your young man offered and get him in a place where he can be utilized and be recruited. Again, the third part of this recruiting piece is extremely important. Talent, team, and tape, that's got to happen. That's a given. Second part, training and camps. You've got to utilize supplemental training, and then you've got to camp well. But the third piece of this, and this is where parents come in, and this is why these offer cards are so important. This is why you have to have this, because if not, you're missing a whole aspect of recruiting that's probably costing your son an offer. And that is the marketing and the connections. Through X&O Recruit, we believe we have that marketing and connection.